Hey, how's it going?
Hey, as far as I know, this is the first time you've been to the Apex, right? Or definitely the first time fighting there. What do you think about that place? Pretty nice, huh? What do you think about fighting there?
It's pretty dope. We got to get a little bit of a tour. We didn't do the whole thing 2 days ago, but we got to see the part that counts the most, which is the octagon. And I'm excited about it, man. There's a lot of history that's going to be in that building, and to be a part of it is going to be a great thing, especially in a time like this where there's so much going on in the world. I think to give the fans kind of somewhat of an escape from reality for a little bit and give us some hope that life can get back to normal. It's gonna be a great part and an honor for me to be a part of that.
I haven't asked anyone else, but I mean, this is UFC. Is the UFC PI open back up with you guys? I assume it is. So you're able to train over there and cut weight and all that.
Yeah, I'm actually doing my weight cut at the hotel though for tonight to find a few pounds. There's no reason to use the facility right now, for the main part being that we're still stagnant with like the training cycle. So I typically like to train for longer than an hour, keep the sweat going, and push out as much weight as I can in one session so that I can minimize the amount of workouts I need to do. I cut a lot of weight to get down to 135. You could say I walk around 165, sometimes 170, you know, if I'm eating really good. So to get my weight acclimated, I need to make sure I have the sufficient enough time to do it the right way and to feel good and not feel depleted coming into fight night.
Tell me more about this blue padded room I keep seeing you train in, because it looks like an old school like underground fight club, like when I first started training. What are you guys up to in there, man?
That's the dog pound training crew. That's the Ayaquinta penthouse suite is what I call it. It's over in Long Island, New York. 2-car garage. He converted it. That's kind of what we had at his old house that I used to live with him in, and now he just moved. He's living on the water now, moving on up in the world, you know. And thankfully for him and the squad, man, they came through for me in a very tough time for me to get some adequate training partners, high-level training partners at that. So that's pretty much where the training went down. We called it the dog pound team, you know, because it's a small confined space, but you know, we're all dogs, you know, dog eat dog, but these dogs are pushing each other. You know, we're not tearing each other down, we're pushing each other to the next level.
All right, last question for me is on a more serious note. The last week or so, I mean, we don't need to get into the details, obviously, we know what I'm talking about. I haven't been able to eat, sleep, my anxiety's off the charts. I can't imagine how you feel. I don't have to get into a cage fight. And on top of that, you're a young black man from New York. So can you just kind of tell me how you've been able to go through a stressful time like a training camp with all this craziness?
I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, it's not easy at all, you know. Losing some sleep, I have to, good thing I got my sponsors. They make this sleeping supplement, Sleepy Bear Company, and that's helped out a ton to kind of alleviate my mind and kind of just put my mind at ease, because you find yourself when you're in your room by yourself just sitting down and you just start thinking about all these things and your mind starts racing. So it's been tough during the day. You know, training takes my mind off of it, eating takes my mind off of it, and any type of conversation I can have with my teammates that are with me. If we're not talking, you know, then the thoughts come back, and at night they wake me up. So good thing I did bring those to help out. I took some last night and put me out for a while, but then, you know, these are strong emotions, strong thoughts. So, you know, they creep back in there. And at the end of the day, you know, I got a big fight at the end of this week, so I got to really dial it in. You know, like I said, when I'm training, I'm focused, but outside of that, so right now I'm still pretty focused on the fight. You know, I don't think there's anything being taken away from that. It's just there's just a lot going on in the world. This is just a small part of this. You know, this fight, it matters, but at the same time, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things in terms of life. You know, so this is just something to do for entertainment for the fans and for myself to provide. But other than that, man, there's so much more at stake with everything going on in this world today.
Wow, I appreciate your candor, Aljo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll take our next question from Damon Martin with MMA Fighting.
Yo.
It feels like every time we talk during the pandemic, there's a different scenario for your fight and the title, and I haven't had a chance to talk to you since everything kind of changed. What is, you know, going into this fight with Corey, you know, a lot of people, myself included, thought maybe this would be the title fight. Didn't go that way. Now we know it's going to be Aldo and Jan. Can you kind of give me your thoughts on the lay of the land now that we know how it's kind of played out?
I think this is really the title fight, just 3 rounds. Corey's got a better resume, let's be honest, than Peter Yan does. He beat Rafael Sunsao, who's been a mainstay in the top 5 of, I think, the last 4 or 5 years. I think that says a lot, you know, to go out there and to dispatch him the way he did. The only people to do that has been Sandhagen and Marlon Moraes, you know. So he beat John Lineker, another tough dude, tough fight, close fight, split decision. Peter Yan, I mean, his latest victory that catapulted him into the top 5 was over Uriah Faber. I mean, not saying Uriah Faber isn't tough, but let's be honest here. He's not the Uriah Faber of old, but he's the Uriah Faber of, you know, he's not the same. He's just not the same. So a win over him doesn't do that for you, you know. I just hope that the rankings and everything gets back to normal, and the UFC can get back to what made them great and what makes us better than boxing. The best guys fighting the best guys. And now that we have a little bit of clarity with Sayuda out of the mix, hopefully this is the last clown fight with Jan and Jose Aldo, and we can start putting guys who are winning back into these title slot positions and not just granting title shots because we felt like they might have won the fight. All that matters are the 3 judges that are sitting case ringside, and everybody else's opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Dana thought they won. Doesn't matter if my cousin thought I won. It's what those guys think, those guys and girls think. So at the end of the day, Jose Aldo has a loss in this division. He's fighting for a world title in this division, which makes no sense.
And Aljo, obviously, your last fight was such a statement performance for you, but then, you know, unfortunately, you had to deal with the wrist and then the time off, the pandemic. You couldn't plan for this, but this is a huge fight. I mean, this is a big fight for this division. Do you feel like you need to go out there and make another statement, kind of like you did against Pedro Munoz, to secure your spot as the true #1 contender in this division, even though, again, probably should be for the title, but, you know, do you feel like this is a chance to once again cement your position in the division?
Yeah, 100%. I got to go out there and follow up that performance. This fight is interesting because the way I feel about it, you know, I need to inflict a lot of pain, and I know we're both going to go through it. We're both going to test each other's hearts and see who's going to be the first one to back down and quit. And we both want something, and at the end of the day, unfortunately for both of us, in order to achieve our dreams, we have to crush each other's. And I plan on being the guy to go out there and do that on June 6th.
Have you been impressed by what you've seen out of Corey Sandhagen? I mean, his body of work has kind of slipped under the radar, considering he does have wins over guys like Sunsao and Lineker. Have you been impressed by what you've seen out of him? Yeah,
100%. I think he's a tough dude. He's proven himself worthy very, very quickly. To take out Sunsao the way he did, pretty decisively. Won a lot of those scramble positions where Sunsao shines on the ground. Lineker, he went toe-to-toe with him, pretty much stood in front of him the whole time, and ate some of his biggest shots. And although he got really, really hurt at the end of that 3rd round, he showed some grit, you know, he showed some toughness. And, you know, the other fights, some of them were a little weird. The Mario Batista fight, short notice fight, and the Yuri Alcantara fight, he got steamrolled in the first minute and then came back from a dislocated arm. So yeah, he's a tough dude. You know, he showed a lot of wrinkles to his game and some stuff about his character and his mental. So that's what I'm excited about. I want to see who's a tougher, more mentally strong guy out there, and I think that's going to be me. I've been through way too much, man. You know, this is going to be my 14th fight in the UFC. This is going to be his 6th. I just think I got the experience on my side, and I might be too much too soon for him.
And last question, Aljo, you know, kind of playing up on the question earlier from Rodney, you know, with the atmosphere we're living in right now, I know you've been a guy who's never been afraid to speak your mind on any number of subjects. I saw your interview yesterday and Aaron Ross that are really good stuff there. Do you feel like it's important for people in your position to you know, take to this platform, be able to speak about, you know, the atmosphere we're living in with the protests? And we can't ignore what we're seeing all around us. And obviously, the UFC this weekend is a phenomenal distraction, kind of gets us back into a sense of normalcy, but we can't ignore what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's a little bit of a shame when I see some fans saying, you know, can you do me a favor and not ask questions to the fighters or the athletes about political stuff because we don't care about their opinions. We don't want to hear that. This is not that platform. We, you know, if we want to hear that, we would have turned to CNN or Fox or ABC, whatever the case may be. I do think it's very, very important. It's something significant that we should take upon ourselves to use the platform to inspire, motivate, and to preach being a good person, man. I think that's really what it comes down to. You don't got to get into I'm a leftist or rightist. I'm a Democratic or Republican. You don't have to get into that nitty-gritty type of details with everything. But at the same time, I think to show that you do have a stance is very, very important, and to preach the good word of just being a good human being, just being a humanitarian, man. I look out for you the same way you look out for your brother, your mother, the same thing. You know, that's kind of the way I was raised and kind of how I view and look at life. And it's unfortunate that a lot of people are sitting quiet about it. And again, you don't have to be that guy. I understand, like, you look back at like a Michael Jordan, his history, he got a lot of heat because he was one of those people who never used his platform to speak up for the minority community. And people kind of do a lot of dirt on his name for that. But in my opinion, that's solely up to you. He had a huge platform. Would it have been beneficial if he had done that? Yes, 100%. You know, just because of his reach and his influence, I think that could have made very, very pivotal waves. Maybe things don't change. Maybe things do change. We would never know because we never had the opportunity where he actually did that. But where I sit, man, you know, I grew up in a neighborhood like that. I've had negative experiences with cops. I've had positive experiences with cops. I got friends that are cops today. I'm an FDNY hopeful. So I understand the camaraderie between cops where they always look out for one another. And I do think there's just a lot of things that need to be said. It's like an onion. There's so many layers that need to be peeled back in order to rightfully get to the core of this. And it stems back from 400 or 500 years ago with slavery, just from time and time again, man. It's been passed down. And this is a great country. I love this country. Unfortunately, I was born and raised here with my Jamaican roots intact, and it has a lot to offer. There are some things that can always be better. You go to other countries and there's a lot of things that we would not be fortunate and blessed with to have. But in this position where we are today, things could definitely use a lot of room for improvement. And I think we have to just peel back the layers and have a conversation. And they're tough conversations that not a lot of people are going to be empathetic and understand one another's. And that's the situation that we're having. There's a lot of friction because we are unable to pull ourselves back and look at the bigger picture and see each other's point of view from a different perspective, different lens, wear in their shoes for a day and see what it's like to be a black man. You would never know what that's like unless you are in this body, you know? So I think it's a little unfair when people always try to downplay what certain people are preaching. And not every protester is right. Not every cop is bad. The same thing, you know? Not every cop is bad, but some people are going out there and there's a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes that need to be addressed, like the whole thing with like the bricks being staged or, you know, quote unquote staged. I don't know. I have no idea, but things just miraculously just popping up, and it's kind of like lighting the fuse or leaving the bait and hoping that someone takes the trap and really starts to go off and cause chaos in this country, and it's dividing us, you know. So I hope we can figure out the reforms, educate and really retrain our police officers, getting people to understand that just because I grew up a different way and my lifestyle is different doesn't mean that you need to be afraid of me. I think at the end of the day, man, we all put our shoes on the same way, tie our laces, put our pants on, brush our teeth, and you know, it's we all bleed the same. We all got that same beating muscle in our left chest, and I just think we're all the same, man. I think people need to realize that all these stuff, that how we tear each other down. And again, there's a lot to be said about the black community as well, minority community. I think systematically we are oppressed, but at the same time, I think we need to take a little bit more of responsibility for our actions. Meaning, so if we get pulled over by a cop, not going crazy and creating a scene when, you know, we feel like we're wrongfully pulled over. This is something I deal with all the time. I still get pulled over. And if a cop doesn't know who I am, when they do find out who I am, my interaction is 100% a lot more politer and a lot nicer compared to when they just think I'm just some random black dude that they're pulling over, you know. So I do still conduct my way. Yes, sir. No, sir. Hands on the steering wheel. Hey, may I go into my glove compartment to grab you my registration? May I go into my back pocket, sir, ma'am, to pull out my wallet? Yeah, we might not feel that we have to do that because you feel like, oh, we're violating our rights because you wrongfully pulled me over. But I think if we take a little bit of responsibility for how we respond, we could diffuse the situation before it gets to that edge and that negative level, that point of no return where someone is taking another man's life because they have a badge on and they feel powerful enough that they could just sit on another man's neck or put him in a chokehold for X amount of minutes and take someone's life, you know. So that's where I said, man, I've had this tough conversation. I'm a family of 20 siblings, you know, so I was just on the phone this morning with my sisters letting them know, like, yo, we gotta figure out ways to do better. You know, we weren't raised like this. people look at me all the time. They say, how the hell did you come out of that family and get to where you are? And, you know, I thank God that, you know, I made some right decisions, and my life could have went left real quick, and I could have been another statistic. So I'm just fortunate for where I am. I'm blessed that the UFC has given me this opportunity to use this platform and to fight, make a living, and to provide for myself, and really try to shape the future of my family and my future kids. And, you know, I think that's all you could do. You be the one that changes the revolving door going forward. Don't just sit on the carousel going around and around. You got to do something different to break the cycle.